Alright guys, how's it going? Emmett here, back with another video. So this is going to be the last to a three-part series of generating £4 mortgage leads using Facebook and Instagram advertising. We've already covered a high-level overview on how to actually set up your profile, all of that good stuff, as well as specifically how to optimize your Instagram specifically to actually generate leads that you're going to want to work with and will be able to do business with. This video is going to be specifically about the actual ad strategy that you're going to want to follow to go ahead and generate leads in the most cost-effective manner so you can actually get a good return on investment from your campaigns and grow your business in the way that you want to. So let's jump straight into it. As you can see, paid advertising strategy, we want to keep this one to the point today to generate £4 leads, and this is going to be the A to Z of it. So let's actually go ahead and run through it. Let me get that out of the way. Step one, as always, is going to be expectations. So I've done this at the start of every single video so far in this series, and that is going ahead and doing a little bit of a rant about the expectations that you're going to have around online lead generation and growing your business through online leads and Facebook leads. And yes, I know I talk about this a lot, but you do need to have the correct expectations and the correct beliefs around this, or it's just not going to work. You're going to go ahead and just expect that because somebody made a submission one time, or they inquired one time, that, oh yeah, it's secure business, this guy's spot on, I'm gonna go ahead and seal the deal with this guy straight away in the first conversation. But that's just not how it works. Just because somebody made a submission one time on a post does not mean that you've secured that business. It doesn't mean that they know you, it doesn't mean that they trust you. And if you don't have everything in check that we've already discussed in this three-part series, so I strongly go ahead and recommend that you watch those videos if you haven't already, then it's certainly not going to work out in the way that you want to, because it's not just about generating leads. Not all leads are equal. You want to set this up so that each lead is as warm as possible so you can close them as easy as possible. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means that you need the right infrastructure in place, like I say, to make the leads as warm as possible when they do submit, and then have the right processes in place to nurture leads and win their faith as well. So expectations and beliefs out of the way. Make sure that you have the belief that this is going to work, but also have everything set up in the correct methods that we've already discussed in the previous videos. So go ahead and watch those now if you haven't. Step two. So this is really the foundations before we actually get into the specifics. I know everybody's here to see, oh, well, what's the ads going to look like? How do I launch an ad? We're going to get onto that, but if you do that without this stuff in place in the first place, then it's not going to work. So just bear with me for the next 5-10 minutes. We're going to go over cover the foundations, and then we will get into the good stuff that I know, quite frankly, everybody is probably here for in the first place. But like I say, this stuff is important, so make sure that you do it. Step two is to define your ICP, ideal client profile. You want to decide who it is that you want to work with. So you need to establish who you're trying to attract with your advertising, because this will influence your messaging, your callouts, your branding. When you have decided on the person that you want to help, who you want to work with, and apologies, don't even understand my own text. When you've decided on the person you want to help, you want to work to develop understanding and trust by speaking to their problems, pains, and uncertainties. So first of all, the key words there are going to be understanding and trust, because that's what it's going to take to really get someone's business. Can't seem to highlight it, but it's fine. But you need to get them to realize that you understand their situation and trust you to be the person to solve that and give them the solution that they're looking for. Why problems, pains, and uncertainties specifically, as opposed to their desires and their goals and the pleasures that they want. And yes, although it might sound Machiavellian, pain is a bigger motivator than pleasure, so we're going to go ahead and dig on pain points and problems that people have and try and solve those, as opposed to just trying to sell and push a product and push a service. And that's why pushy salespeople don't work as well, by the way, because it's not about buying the thing, it's about getting out of pain and buying a transformation as a result of having the thing. It's never about the thing that you're actually buying. So it is important that you take the time to genuinely get to know the pain points and problems faced by your ICP. And I even made a document to help with this. I will go ahead and link it in the description. So if you want to go ahead, look down below, you can open that up. This is the stuff that I use for all of my clients, by the way, and I'm giving it away today for free. So I'd strongly recommend you take the time to go ahead, fill out that document to really get an understanding of the type of people that you want to work with. It'll help with your ads, it'll help with your messaging. You'll be able to actually influence people to want to submit and be encouraged to want to work with you and have faith in your ability as well. So go ahead, have a look at that document, fill it out, get a proper understanding of where your client is at, what their uncertainties are, so that way you can speak to them in the correct manner. Step 3 is going to be optimize your profile. So this is something I see all the time. I see people running ads without actually having a proper organic strategy in place, which isn't great because, well, there's nothing to it. It's a faceless inquiry. They're making an inquiry, yes, but they don't know who they're making it to. They don't know who's behind the brand. They don't have a person that they can trust. It's more just a company and the notion that they may be able to get help from this company, but if they don't know the person, they're not going to trust them, they're not going to like them, so on and so forth. And when someone does have that infrastructure in place, then obviously they're going to win ahead of you. So like I said, I previously made a video which I recommend that you watch about how to generate proper Instagram strategy, but very, very briefly, I will go over this. You want to go ahead, get a good profile picture, just a clear image of your face, ideally smiling, because who doesn't love a smile? Good content that resonates with your audience. What do I mean by resonate? Show them that you understand their situation, understand what they want, understand their pains, and portray that through your content. And you're going to do that better by having an understanding of your ICP. Hence, we covered that in the last step. Like I said, this is foundational, and each one leads on to each other. It's in a specific order for a specific reason. Your bio, obviously, you want that set up in the correct way. You want to say what you do, who you help, why you help them if you can, how to get in touch, so on and so forth. And then consistency over time. This is something that people don't really account for. You're not just going to blow up overnight. And yes, you can get 1 million views in a video and you can get 10,000 followers in a week, but it's probably not going to happen to you. So remain consistent with good value that resonates with your audience over time. And even then, less is so much more. You might have 10,000 followers, but if they aren't interested in your service, it doesn't matter anyways. So just speak to your audience, stick with the quality, and you'll be absolutely fine. But like I say, it's all well and good paying for advertising and generating leads if people take one look at your organic content and turn the other direction. Because the truth is, your organic strategy and overall appearance online is how people will judge you, think of you, and form opinions on you, and they will associate your ability with the conceptions they have formed from your online appearance. So take it seriously. And this goes beyond just online appearance as well, by the way. There's a reason that you show up to a business meeting wearing a suit and tie. There is a reason that you sit down in the house and watch a movie wearing your pajamas, but you wouldn't do that wearing a shirt and tie, and you wouldn't show up to a business meeting wearing your pajamas because it's different. You have to present yourself in a different way for a different event. But having an Instagram with no posts or any appearance on it whatsoever is kind of like showing up to that business meeting wearing your pajamas. It doesn't fit. It's not right. And I know that that's a strange analogy, but the point is people are going to judge you on your appearance. And it's the reason that people get dressed up, that they present themselves well in a personal setting. In the real world, you want to start doing that online as well, because people are moving so much more increasingly towards a digital world than just the real world. As sad as that sounds, it is true. And people are doing a lot of business online on social media as well. So you want to take this seriously. But like I say, foundations are all very important, and that is them covered. But there's a reason that they were done first, before we actually get on to the good stuff that you guys are probably here for, how to develop ad creatives, how to launch ads, so on and so forth. But make sure you have those foundations in place before you go ahead and launch. And like I say, ICP document is linked down below. Make sure you go ahead, fill that out, get a proper understanding of who you're trying to speak to. Because if you can understand their problems, they can see that, they will have that trust in you to solve them and provide a solution to them as well. Step 4, actually developing ad creatives. So this is probably what everybody's here for, the exciting stuff. So there's two main types of ads that you can run. There's video and there's photo. I have always found that video works better, but, and this is probably one of the biggest buts of the video, do not let this form your opinion around what works and what doesn't work, because that will be determined by metrics and results, which I will touch on later. When it comes to ads, you need to throw any preconceptions that you have out the window. Just because I said, oh, video works better for me, does not mean that video is going to work better for you. And if you have some sort of judgment on what's going to work best, you'll probably end up putting a lot more effort into your videos as opposed to your image creatives, and you'll maybe lead yourself in the direction to want to see better performance in video, but it's not necessarily going to be the case. Point is, come into it with a fresh, open mind. Don't have any preconceptions. Don't be judged by other people, or don't let other people's judgments influence your judgment. That being said, for image creatives, there are multiple different variations that you can go for, and these include images of property, client reviews, photos of clients after receiving their keys. You can even use ChatGPT images now for your ad creatives. You can get a random image, and an example I've given here, actually, just a photo of a map of the UK. It's been one of my best performing image ads that I've ever ran to date, so you can get a bit creative with this one. There are no sort of strict rules, but this is actually taken specifically from my ad creative bank. I have this banked, and I have these done up for each client that I've worked with as well, specific to their brand, and tested them. But like I said, I've always found video works best anyways, but it's always good to test this stuff just in case it does actually have a better performance. Stock images work, family photos, photos of kids, photos of pets, families having dinner, so on and so forth. But the whole sort of goal around this, okay, so we're generating mortgage leads, alright? We're trying to get people who are looking to purchase a house, who are looking to move house, who are looking to find a more suitable deal on their mortgage. You want to understand what your ideal client wants and what your ideal client doesn't want, and try and summarize their entire situation in one photo, as they'll resonate with the image. If they see something that is familiar to them, something that they want, something that they desire, like, I mean, you look at things that you like, yeah. If you're out in public, fancy car drives past, you're going to look at it. If you're a car person like me, you're going to look at it. If you're hungry and someone comes into the room with a big plate of food, you're going to look at the food. So on and so forth. You notice things that you want, that you desire, and if you see an image that actually portrays something that you want, and that you can resonate with, then you're going to be inclined to look at it, take interest in it, and potentially go ahead and submit on that as well, and potentially become a customer. So they are just a couple of things that you can do. Obviously, like I say, photos of clients receiving keys, that's something that people who are purchasing a house are going to want. They're going to want to receive their keys, so they're going to be interested in that. But these are just some of the things that you can do. These are a couple of ideas. Where are we? How do you actually make these ads? So pretty easy. You can go into Google Images, save a photo. You can add branding, company logo, company colors. In Canva, I do definitely recommend that you add the company logo or something like that as well, or potentially add your own face or somebody in the company's face. If you're sort of a solo advisor, fine, go ahead, add your own. If it's a bigger company and I'm speaking potentially to a business owner, go ahead, put your face as well. But yeah, pretty simple. And when it comes to things, for example, photos of clients after receiving keys, don't get those from Google. Of course, ask your clients, are we okay to run a campaign using obviously this photo? It's just like posting it on Instagram normally, so on and so forth, and they'll probably say yes because obviously you did a great job for them. So that'll be absolutely fine. But like I say, pretty simple when it comes to the image creatives. And we will get on to launching those in a second and tracking the performance, so on and so forth. We'll get on to that, don't worry. Video ads. So for video ads, this is how I structure mine when it comes to scripting them. And yes, you are going to want to script a video ad. There are no set rules to this. You don't have to do this, but generally speaking, if you want a predictable formula for success, then you do want a bit of a framework to it. So this is the framework that I use. And yes, like I say, it's not rigid. You don't have to do this, but it's what I've found the best success with. So, how I structure mine: call out or a hook to actually catch people's attention. Pain point. Remember I said that people are more motivated by pain, and you want to show them that you understand their situation and develop that trust straight away by digging on those pain points initially before you get on to the solution. Because if you're just like, oh, we are advisors, buy our stuff, it's going to put them off. But if you actually show them that you can relate to them, understand their situation, they'll be more inclined to listen. And then whenever you provide that solution, that they'll be more primed, more inclined to want to go ahead and submit on it. Machiavellian perhaps, but, and this is a big but as well, by the way, so I'm going to speak directly to the camera. If you specifically do believe that your service is actually good, okay, if you believe that everybody you work with is better off as a result of working with you, then it's in the client's best interest for them to be interested in this ad and to submit and work with you. And it's in your best interest to work with the client as well, because, well, I assume you're not running a mortgage charity, you're looking to get paid at the end of the day. So for the most part, capitalism and spending money and purchasing services and helping people is actually a good thing and makes the planet better, in my opinion, in most cases. But this isn't a political ideology discussion, I'm just talking about helping people with their mortgage. But like I say, pain points first. It makes them more inclined to trust you and resonate with you. Flip the script. When I say flip the script, this is going to be something like, well, don't worry, or it's okay, we have a solution. Actually provide that solution. So we're advisors. I do have an example here which I'll go through. Why you should work with us, social proof, and then CTA, which stands for call to action, which is tell them what to do next. So I think it would probably be best to just go through the example. But like I say, understanding your ICP, understanding what they're going to resonate with and what their pain points are going to be will help with actually writing this out and making it more relatable, which is going to obviously get you a better return. So make sure you go ahead, do the ICP document, which you obviously have filled out already because, well, you're a very special viewer. I know you've already done it. But yeah. So the example that I have here, hook, call it, or the hook. Are you based in the UK and looking to find a better deal in your mortgage? So straight away, based in the UK, yes. Are you looking to find a better deal in your mortgage? Who isn't? You know what I mean? Maybe you're stuck at home, and with the cost of living rising and your wages staying the same, you've worried about how much you can borrow or how big of a deposit you will need to save. So obviously, every question that a client is going to ask first is, oh, how much can I borrow? How much am I able to borrow? What can I afford? So obviously, that's going to be something that you know is going to be a pain point that's going to resonate with them. Cost of living rising, wages staying the same, another pain point. And yet there's multiple pain points in here, but you get the point, it's one sentence. Perhaps you find yourself in a unique situation, you feel trapped with your current lender, unable to search for more suitable deals. Perhaps somebody's got into credit issues or something since they got onto their deal, and they're afraid of remortgaging because they think that they'll get a worse deal with another lender. But obviously with cost of living rise and so on and so forth, with Christmas coming up, people are probably going to find a bit of a squeeze in their finances and feel that need to remortgage, but maybe they're just afraid of doing it because, well, they're in a unique situation and they feel trapped. But that's showing understanding and it's digging on a pain point. If so, you're in exactly the right place, so flip the script because things don't have to stay this way. Here at company name, we're specialist mortgage advisors, and it's exactly the sort of thing we work with every day. That is the solution. And then the social proof, we've worked with ex-clients, blah, blah, blah. Call to action, learn more. So you see where we're going. This is obviously a video script. When it comes to recording this, you do not need lights and a camera like I have. You just need a phone, and you can do it with a 10-point tripod. And if you want to be really, really, really budget, you can set like a coffee cup up against your phone and balance it off that and speak to it. But I'd recommend you probably invest in a tripod because it's a tenner. And if you're not willing to spend a tenner on this stuff, then paid advertising is probably not for you, because I'm going to touch on budget later on as well. And for editing, you can do this yourself in CapCut for free, but I'd recommend that you outsource to an editor for probably about $10 a video. Yeah, if you're not sort of well versed with editing or anything like that, you're not necessarily going to notice fancy edits, but you're most certainly going to notice whenever it's edited poorly. So don't make the mistake of just thinking, oh, let me try and save here. Let me do it myself, because, well, it's very often that I do see people trying to edit themselves to cut corners, save money, and it does really show in the aesthetic, in the performance probably as well of their adverts. So I'd recommend that you outsource that for approximately $10 a video. And that is video and image ads, guys. But like I said, no preconceptions. This is just what we can do. These are potential ads that we can run, and I'm going to get on to actually launching these, tracking the performance and seeing which performs better as well. So, copywriting. Obviously, we have to cover this before we get into anything else. Copywriting is like the fishing line of ads. It's really just the caption that you have for the ads, the text that goes above the image. And it's like the fishing line of ads. The creative hooks the viewer's attention, and the copy reels them in and gets them to take action on what you want them to do. And my recommended structure is very similar to the video ads framework, which was just discussed. Call out, pain point, flip the script, solution, social proof, why should you work with us, and call to action. And you'll see here I have a special note: focusing large amounts of time and energy into this won't generate huge increase in returns, but completely neglecting it will certainly impact performance negatively. So you want to have a baseline in there. You want to make sure that it's not complete rubbish, because if it is, then, like I say, it'll certainly impact performance negatively. But having a decent copy from just a regular person who somewhat understands their audience will probably perform similarly to hiring a world-class copywriter for thousands of pounds or whatever and having them write your copy instead. There's just no need for it. I have certainly not seen that it is the highest leverage part of any ad in the slightest, and you'll probably get much more from your creative instead. That's not to say that you need to invest thousands in your creatives either. Like I said, you can just record yourself on a phone and get the video edited for £10. But point is, you don't need to invest big time in copywriting or your ads. But specifically, we're talking about copywriting here. So here's an example I did before the video. Call out, based in the UK and looking to move home. Again, based in the UK, yes, if you're looking to move home, yes, you're going to be interested in watching this video. Or the image, whatever it'll be. Owning your own property is about more than just security and equity. Pinpoint, they want security, they want equity, which they don't have if they're renting or if they're living with their parents. It's a place to lay roots, create loving memories with your family, over dinner and movie nights, and build something truly meaningful for your future. All these things that they can't do because they don't own their own home. Pain points, resonation, showing you understand, getting them to trust you. But with a busy schedule, other commitments, and worrying about the housing market, we know it can seem challenging. So that's actually another pain point. So I've went a bit overkill with this. But like I say, it's a framework. It's not binary. It's not rigid. It's fine. Don't worry, we've got you covered. So flip the script. Solution, company name, it's our goal, find so on and so forth. Social proof, over X years. You put X clients in there as well. Obviously, don't say X years. However long you've been doing it for, put that in. Don't say X clients, how many clients you've worked with, put that in as well. And then the CTA, call to action, is going to be learn more. So far, just to sort of summarize this, we have already worked on the expectations. This is going to work if we actually stick with it. It'll bear fruit. We have gone ahead and defined the ICP, who we want to work with. Let's say, for example, that is going to be first-time buyers who are worried about how much they can borrow, how big their deposit is going to be, what the price of the house is going to be, so on and so forth, what rates are going to be available, things like this. And we can use that to craft our messaging to show them that we truly understand their situation, their pain points especially, because that's going to be the biggest driver in action in getting them to submit, and knowing what they want as well, to show them that we understand their situation, that they'll resonate with us and trust that we can actually solve their problems because we understand them and provide the solution that they're looking for. So that is really the foundations when it comes to actually understanding who it is that we're trying to target, how we're going to target them, and then how to write copy, how to generate ads as well. So, I believe step 6, call to action, yeah. So this one's really simple. It's not something that will make a huge impact on the performance of your ads, but I am going to touch on it just because, well, I want to be specific with this video. You don't want to use get quote for mortgage advice advertisements because, well, it doesn't really make any sense. You don't get a quote on your mortgage. You can split test this and see what works best. I'd always recommend that you keep things simple with learn more. Regardless of your funnel, learn more is comprehensive as all potential next steps. It isn't too specific, and it is curiosity and booking, which is also a huge driver of behavior. So you could have a link to a booking calendar. Learn more is still going to be applicable to that step. You can have a landing page funnel, you can have a simple lead form through Facebook. All of those are going to be covered by the term learn more, so just don't worry about it. So I believe step 7 is ad structure. Yep. Actually setting up your ads or a campaign structure. So this is where things get a bit technical. So we've already covered understanding who it is that we want to work with, how to set up those ads and generate the images and the creatives people are going to be seeing. But this is where things get a bit more technical, and this does not mean things are about to get more difficult, and you certainly don't have to just click off the video now or say, oh, that's all I can do. This is like the technical part and I need to outsource this to somebody else who knows what they're doing, because the point of this is to get you to learn how to do this on your own. That's the whole purpose of this video. If you do just watch on for another moment, give your full focus for the next 5 to 10 minutes based on how the video is going so far. It might be the next 10 to 15, but 10 to 15 minutes focus for a potential, it sounds a little cringe, but money making machine. I mean, you're putting money into this and generating clients off the back. It is a win-win. You can get constant ROI from this just by actually focusing for the next 10 to 15 minutes. And yes, there's going to be a revision coming back to this, so on and so forth. Point is, give it your attention. You can genuinely grow your business and benefit as a result of watching this and listening and really internalizing what I'm about to say. So, like I say, that way you won't have to pay overpriced marketing agencies or online biz kids like me to run them for you. So let's jump into Ads Manager and break down the campaign level, ad set level, and the ad creative level. So let's do it. If I come over, we have Ads Manager here. So this is the back end of Facebook Ads Manager, okay? This is a campaign that I had live. We just turned it off there for Christmas, so it's not actually live right now, but this is what the Facebook Ads Manager looks like. Whenever you come on here, it's going to be empty. If you haven't ran ads before, there won't be a campaign here. There'll probably be a little button here saying create ad or launch campaign or something like that. I can't remember specifically, but it'll be blank without a campaign here. But let's actually break this down. So as we can see, we have campaign, ad set, and ads. But if I hit edit, so this is what you'll see whenever you're actually developing a new campaign. The first thing you want to do is sort your campaign level, then sort your ad set level, and then sort your ads. So the whole purpose of the campaign level is to actually determine what you want from the campaign. So if you're running a service-based business, for example, mortgage advice, like probably the majority of people watching this video, then you need to generate leads. It's leads that you want, people that you can speak with, people you can have appointments with, and people you can do business with. So you're going to determine this as a lead campaign. The way that we do this, as we can see here, campaign objective is leads. So I cannot edit this, but that's fine because I already have it as leads. There'll be a couple of different options for engagement, exposure, conversions, things like that, link clicks, so on and so forth. But you want leads because, well, you want people you can speak with, that you can sell to, just like I said. As well, special note here, if you are running ads for your mortgage business, you need to declare this in special ads category. And there are a couple of different special ads categories here. So this is a brand new one as of November 24, financial products and services. But at the same time, you want to go ahead and declare that under credit and under housing as well. Don't leave it to chance. Obviously, yes, this is in the UK. And yes, that is everything that we want for the campaign level. It says here we have A/B test. Don't do A/B test, and don't do advantage campaign budget either. You want to determine the budget yourself, which I'm going to get onto. An A/B test, honestly, it's negligible and it's not something you want to get into. You'd rather run your own A/B test, so just don't worry about it. But that is the goal for the campaign set. Next, we have the ad set level, and in the ad set level, there's a couple of different things that we can set up here. So instant forms, this is one thing I'll get onto in the ad level, don't worry. But at the same time, we actually set our daily budget here. So when it comes to the daily budget, I'm going to touch on this later, don't worry. As you can see, this one's on £23, but this is where you set the budget. It's on the ad set level. And you can also determine your audience. So if you're doing this in the UK, I'd recommend that you just do it England-wide. You can go ahead and do a local one if you fancy, but I'd recommend you just do England-wide. And you'll be fine that way. If you want to target London, if you want to target the southeast, because obviously there's going to be higher property prices down there, understandable, you can go ahead and do that too. But split test the audiences, see which one does best. Don't just say, oh, because the property prices are higher in the south, it's going to be better. That's not the case. Like I said, remove all your preconceptions, let the metrics and the performance of the ad do the talking, not any preconceptions or misconceptions, I should say, because most often they're wrong, is the truth. Let the results speak for themselves. Do not look to implement any special audiences or targeted audiences, by the way, if you're using special ads category, like we obviously are, because you will get banned. One of the rules for special ads category is that your targeting is broad and fair. Do not try and target people in their 30s, or do not build an audience off your email list. I'm not even going to show you how to do that because it's not applicable for financial services. Don't do it, you'll get banned. I've been there, trust me, you don't want to be there. It is not a fun place to be. Placements, so I'd recommend that you really just keep this to sort of the feed and stories and reels and things like that. Obviously, again, you can split test it like I say, but generally speaking, not that many people are going to be submitting for an ad on Facebook Messenger stories. It's just not that common. People spend their time on the feed, on their stories, so you want to go ahead and direct your budget towards the place people are going to be the most often, which is feeds and stories. So stick to that in my opinion. But like I said, split test it, see which performs best. But that is the whole purpose of the ad set level. So it's really about your audience, your budget, where your ads are actually going to be shown, so on and so forth. And obviously we have the instant forms here. So there's a couple of different things you can do with this, but I'll get onto that now in a second. So when it comes to the actual ad level, this is where we're going to go ahead and load in the creatives. You can see here, I have a video creator performing for the client's account here that we have. But obviously you can go ahead, you can choose your image, your video, whatever you like. Okay, so on the ad level, this is where you're going to select whether or not you're on a video, whether you're on a photo. As we can see here, we have a client's video going here at the minute. We're on a video, it was very successful. Like I said, videos perform better for me. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to perform better for you, split test it. But This is where you implement your creatives. You go ahead, you can select that from the account, you can multi-upload it from your computer, and it's also where you do your copywriting. So you want to go ahead, add the actual copy in there as well, which we've already covered the creatives, covered the copy, but that's where you add it here now. And at the same time, we have as well lead forms. So you'll remember I had mentioned at the start, no, it was on the ad set level, we have instant forms here. So this is how we're going to actually collect leads information. So whenever it comes to the lead form, I have a pretty simple one here, and this is what people are going to see whenever they click on your ad. Looking for help with your current mortgage, only a few steps away from finding the solution. Just fill out the next page to get started. Simple. And the image creative is going to be used as the background, so it's fine. We can go ahead, name, number, email, phone number, privacy policy has to be done. And then a little trick that I like to use, so this is some free sauce here by the way for everybody watching, but something that I do is I frame some false scarcity, shall we say. One last step, make sure to schedule your free call before we're fully booked out for the month using the link below. Very few spots remaining. Obviously scarcity is a big driver of human behaviour, and what I have done here is linked a booking calendar for the client's calendar. So basically what's going to happen here is leads will come on if they're really intent. Not everybody is going to be 100% intent and ready to book in for a 20-30 minute call. It's not necessarily going to happen straight away, but some people will, and some people do. So the option there is that we will link the booking calendar, then go ahead and book in for a chat themselves, and that way there is no manual follow-up and we don't need to speak with the client. We just go ahead, do the fact find, and where possible do the business as well. So it's a good trick that you can do to save yourself some time, and I'd strongly recommend that you try that out. Now obviously as well, it doesn't have to be a lead form. You can run these guys to a landing page where they can make a submission there. I don't recommend that you run them to the website. Reason being, how are you going to generate leads from your website unless you have a submission on there as well? But even then, talking about websites and Google and SEO is not really in my domain, and it's not really got anything to do with this video. So I'd recommend that you leave websites out of the picture. Story for another day, and not one you're going to get from me, because it's not something I do, and it's not really something I have really all that much interest in. Story for another day. We'll move on. But that is campaign, ad set, and ad level. So the campaign is determining the goal, what are you actually looking to do, as well as special ads category. Don't forget that. We want to generate leads, so we're setting the lead goal at the campaign level. When it comes to the ad sets, we're looking to determine the audience. So who's this going to be shown to? I recommend that you do the whole of England. If you want to target the southeast, absolutely fine. Higher population, higher property prices, go for it. And as well, you can determine your placements in there and your budget. And when I say placements, feed, stories, reels, whatever you want. And then the budget, which we'll touch on in a second, is determined on the ad set level. When it comes to the ad level, we're going to be actually selecting the creatives in there, image, video, whatever it may be, as well as the copy, and actually determining what that lead form is going to look like. And if we don't use a lead form, then we'll be linking the landing page or the funnel that we're going to use. And I actually didn't explain really the purpose as to why you would use one or the other. The reason that you would mainly look to use a landing page or a funnel is to really focus on the quality. So you can start to filter the people who come through. Let's say, for example, you're looking to work with people who are looking to purchase, first-time buyers, for example. You can go ahead and put filtering questions in there, such as how much of a deposit do you have saved, what's your salary, so on and so forth. And that'll help get some information on those people before you speak with them, so you know that they're worthwhile. Whereas if it is just a simple lead form, like the one that I'm using here, you're not going to get that information. But I haven't needed to so far, quite frankly, at least not with this campaign, because we have found that the leads that have been coming through have been of a decent quality anyway. They resonate with the ad quite well, and they have seen obviously the organic side of things and the personal brand that we're developing on behalf of the client on their Instagram, Facebook as well anyways. So we don't need to worry so much about the quality of those guys because we got the foundations right in the first place. And that's why I put the foundations at the start, because you need the good organic strategy and you need to be able to resonate with people before you go ahead and pay for ads, and they will perform better off the back of it. So it's coming full circle is the point. That's why I put it first. If you haven't done the ICP booklet or the sheet by now, go and do it. I can't stress it enough. But that is the actual campaign broken down. That is structure. And let's go into how we set this up. So now that we understand what it is and what it actually looks like, how should you best set up your campaign for success? Finding winning ads is a bit like natural selection. So explain for the video. What do I mean by this? Basically, right, ad creatives are organisms. Think of them as being organisms. This is a bit of a weird analogy, but bear with me. Think of your creatives, your images, your videos as being organisms within an environment. The environment is the algorithm, the Facebook and Instagram feeds, and the success rate or the survival rate or the ad performance of any ad or organism is going to be based on the environment in which it performs in. That's why evolution occurs. Because, well, animals only perform as well as their environment. If the environment changes, the animal has to keep up to survive. It's the same as ads. It's only going to be as good as the algorithm in which it is performing in. That is why preconceptions and misconceptions about what ads are going to perform best are, well, they're wrongly founded, because the success of something will only be determined by the algorithm and the results, not by any misconceptions or preconceptions people might have. Or let's say, for example, you invest. Something I see a lot of people doing is investing heavily in high production videos and photos and things like that, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have a better performance. So don't just think because you put loads of work into it that it's going to do well. Point is, the best performers are the ones that perform best in relation to the algorithm, but at the same time, when it comes to that, to have the best chance of success for your ads to work, you want to have as many different ads within the algorithm as possible that are different from each other. So as many different animals, for example. Here's a weird one, okay? Let's say you take frogs, alright, and you put them in the Amazon rainforest. You take 100 different species of frogs, because I know that there's a lot. There's only going to be so many species that survive, because, well, let's say you take like a UK garden frog, he's probably not going to survive in the Amazon for all that long. But if you take some sort of tropical poisonous frog, it'll probably survive a lot better. Point is, having 100 is more likely to get you a higher volume of frogs that survive, as opposed to just taking 10. Because if you only have 10, it's less likely that they'll actually be adapted and they'll all die. So have more ads, and that'll result in better performance. But to really succeed, you're going to want a testing phase and an implementation phase. What do I mean by this? For the testing phase, I recommend you go for the 1-4-4 approach. And this involves 1 campaign, 4 ad sets, and 4 creatives in each ad set, ensuring that each ad set is completely different from the rest, so you can see what really performs best. So let's say, for example, we take this back. We had loads of different options there for image ads, and you can come up with as many different options for the video creatives as you want. You can use different hooks, you can use different body copies, so on and so forth. You can use different pain points, things like that. What you're going to want to do is implement different ad sets. So at the ad set level, you're going to do ChatGPT images, for example. You might do client review images. Then you might use a "Are you based in the UK?" hook video, and you might do a, I don't know, something that's going around at the minute is sort of like meme hooks, whereby they'll put a clip in of someone, I don't know, for example, spinning around in their chair, and then they'll cut the clip in and have the client or the mortgage advisor spin around in the chair and start speaking the ad. So there's different things that you can do there, and that is my recommendation for the testing phase. Make sure they're a little different from each other, so you can see which one performs best according to the algorithm or the environment, so to speak. I'd recommend that you leave this for 5 to 7 days until a clear winner has been established. I'll be discussing how to determine the winners, but it's going to be determined by your cost per lead, by the way. But I will get on to metrics, so on and so forth in the next step. And then move on to the implementation phase, where you will implement the winning ad strategy. So whenever you find one with the lowest cost per lead, then you want to go into the implementation phase, which will involve 1 campaign, 2 ad sets, and 5 creatives total. That being said, you're going to have the winning ad set, which will receive 75% of the budget, and it's only going to have 1 ad, so the best performing ad in 1 ad set, and it'll get 75% of the budget, because we know it has the lowest cost per lead, so we can afford to give it more money and more funding to generate more leads at a lower cost. Whilst the other 25% will be directed towards further testing to try and outperform your best performer. Why? Whilst the ad may work now, you can't rely on the same ads to generate you results forever, so don't get complacent. Just look at the dinosaurs. Those guys used to rule the earth, and they thought nothing was going to happen. Then all of a sudden this big meteor lands on the earth, and I believe it was a comet. Not my field of expertise again. And all of a sudden all their food died off, all these sort of things, and they weren't adapted for their environment. Things change, and you can get drastic changes, such as a comet hitting the earth, or such as a massive iOS update changing the algorithm, maybe there'll be a big cultural change, things like that. Over time, the algorithms change. And if you were to take the best performing ads from 10 years ago and try them now, they wouldn't work. Same way today's ads wouldn't have worked 10 years ago. So you want to keep testing, try and find better performers over time. Because you can always improve. You always want to strive to do better, guys. So that is why I'd recommend you keep the testing. But it's going to be one ad set with 4 creatives, by the way. So the winning ad set, one creative, going to get 75% of the budget to get the best return. But you want to keep that testing going with the other 25%, and that is with 1 ad set and 4 creatives. When it comes to the actual numbers specifically, I'd recommend that you do £17. So this is what I do with my clients: £17 on the winning ad set, and then £6 on the other 25. It's the other 25% on the testing. So it's £23 daily, £700 a month. And when it comes to the testing phase, you want to just split that £23 by 4, which is £5.75, I believe, something like that. But it's just over £5 by 4. So that's my best advice. But just split it evenly for the testing phase, and then 75-25 split on the actual implementation phase. Okay, so actually tracking performance. We've already covered setting up the ads, actually generating the images, the videos, understanding your ICP, all of this stuff. We can launch ads, we can run ads on ourselves. Haven't watched this video so far, but how do we actually know what performance is going to look like, how to track this, and how to do better from it? It's all well and good being the best at creating ads and fancy graphics, but if you can't actually judge or optimize performance, then it is meaningless. This is without a doubt the most important part of this video, so listen in, because it's all well and good, like I say, setting this stuff up and getting it in place, but if you can't actually generate results, you don't know what your results mean, you can't improve, you can't do better, you can't actually improve your ROI, it's pointless, because, well, it's just pointless. If you can't determine the success of something, you have no control over the success of it, there's no point in you doing it. So you need to be able to understand how to create a successful campaign, and that's determined by metrics, not misconceptions around the campaign. I can't stress this enough. And the reason that I am stressing this is because often I speak with people and I can show them things that have worked for me that have been successful and things that haven't been successful, and they can show me things that they've tried, and they'll say, oh, well, I prefer the look of this one, or I think this one looks better, or I think this will do better, or I want this to do better, or I invested loads of time into this so it's going to do better. And that's just not the case, because quite often you'll find that just the really simple stuff that doesn't require a lot of effort or thought actually ends up performing better. So throw your misconceptions out the window. Ego at the door, guys. Ultimately, the most important metric of any ad is going to be the cost per lead. Goes without saying. KPIs for mortgage leads, so £0 to £5 is exceptional. You're not going to get 0, or you're not going to get 1 or 2, but if you get 3, 4, that's very much possible. And like you saw on my own campaign, using everything that I've talked about with you here today, this campaign has been getting £3.65. There you go, £3.65 cost per result. This is possible, as you can do this. So 0 to 5 is exceptional. 5 to 10 is good. This is pretty simple. 10 to 15, not awful. It's not bad. It's fine. 15 to 20, you're going to want to start looking at making amendments. It's fine if it's for like a week, but if this goes on for too long, you do want to start making amendments. And if it's over £20, might as well take your money, flush it down the toilet, because, well, it's very expensive leads, and you're not really going to see much of a return. Whenever you actually add up the conversion rates, things like that, it's not looking very good at £20 cost per lead. But cost per lead isn't the only relevant metric here, because if you launch into the testing phase and you find every single ad set is out of KPI when it comes to the cost per lead, you're going to have to ask the question, how do I fix it? Because it's all well and good knowing that you're out of KPI when it comes to the cost per lead. How do you get back into KPI? How do you do that? It's by looking at the rest of the metrics. So let's break that down. These are the relevant metrics that you want to keep an eye on. Click-through rate all, so CTR stands for click-through rate. Link click-through rate, link clicks to lead ratio, and CPM. So I'll touch on CPM, it's not that important, but it is worth bearing in mind just in case. But here's what they mean, how to fix them. Click-through rate all. This is the number of people actually clicking on your ad in any way, shape or form. So if someone clicks see more or read more and they look at the rest of your caption, your copy, if they click on the image to have a look at it, if they click on your video to have a look at it, that counts as a click. Click-through rate all. Any form of click, that's why it says all. If it's less than, so people say 2% for KPI, but I tend to strive higher than that, and my KPI for it is 2.5%. If it's less than 2.5%, then you need to fix it. And to fix it, you simply need to improve your creative, the things that get people's attention, that grab people's attention, as well as the first line of your copy. So think about it, what makes someone click? Having something catch their attention makes them click. So think through it logically, improve the click-through rate all. You want to improve your creative and the first line of your copy. Link click-through rate. This is the number of people actually clicking the button to make a submission. If it's less than 1%, so clicking the button, so the learn more button, going through to the lead form, going through to the landing page. If it's less than 1%, it's out of KPI. And to fix it, you need to improve your copywriting and your offer. So you've caught people's attention, okay, you've caught it with the creative, you've caught it with the first line of the copy, and they're maybe clicking on the video, they're maybe clicking to read more, but they're not clicking on the link to submit because you haven't caught their attention with your offer and your copywriting. And potentially as well for video ads, the main body of your video. So the hook is fine, but the rest of it just isn't fine. You can develop that too. And like I say, make it resonate more. You're going to get it to resonate by understanding your ICP. So if you haven't done the document, go ahead and do it now. Foundations are important, guys. If you couldn't tell, I've only mentioned it 20 times on the video. So you can see where my priorities are with this stuff. Link clicks to lead ratio. So this is the number of people who actually make a submission and become a lead after clicking on the call to action. So this isn't actually a stat within Facebook, by the way. So I'll show you all of these now, by the way. These are your metrics. So you can see cost per result, it's cost per lead. If we come over, click-through rate all, link click-through rate, CPM, but link clicks to lead ratio isn't a stat. You have to count that out for yourself. Just look at the number of link clicks and then the number of leads, make a percentage, divide, times by 100, so on and so forth. If it's any less than 10%, it is out of KPI. And to fix it, you need to improve your landing page or your lead form, as it is not encouraging viewers, potential leads, to sign up for your product. It only makes logical sense, guys. So you're getting people to click, you're getting people interested, but they're not submitting because the lead form isn't relevant to what they signed up for. Maybe it's got too much resistance, there's too many questions on it, maybe the image doesn't match up with the creative, maybe the brand and the colours, so on and so forth. So just have a look, make sure it is matching up with what people have signed up for. And CPM, like I said, least relevant to the metrics here, but it is worth mentioning just in case. If it's super high, as in over £50 high, it's likely that your campaign just isn't interesting, and Facebook's opting not to, let it take up room on the feed, because people aren't going to be interested and they want people to stay on the app. Just get better at making ads in general. Something wrong is going on here. Develop your creatives, make sure you understand your ICP, make sure it's interesting, make sure you're not filming on an old Nokia, anything like that. But improving each metric and aligning them with the relevant KPIs will reduce CPL and increase ROI. So what you might find is that you have a really good click-through rate. You've got a 3% click-through rate, but your link click-through rate is 0.5%. So what's happening there is you've got great creatives, you've got a great hook, you've got a great first line, you catch people's attention brilliantly, but you don't have a great offer, you don't have good copywriting, you don't have a good main body of your video, and people just lose interest after the first couple of seconds when they realize what it's actually about. So you're going to want to develop your offer, your copy, things that actually entice people to want to submit, so on and so forth. But you guys are all smart, you'll be able to work this one out, sort of just think through it logically. But there's enough here for you to be able to make amendments to your own campaigns and see some results. So if we go back to our testing phase, you want to determine the success of an ad by these metrics. Ultimately, that's going to be the cost per lead, but when it comes to improving the cost per lead, if that is out of KPI, the rest of those metrics are there for you to work with. And when it comes to the testing budget, you want to make changes in accordance with what these metrics tell you about your ad performance. Step 9, and I believe the last step, is appointment setting and follow-ups. So this is probably, it's the second most important to this, but when it comes to overall ads, if you're not doing your follow-ups, you're not appointment setting correctly, then it's going to be pointless. To put it bluntly, the largest factor when it comes to success of your campaign, when it comes to actually generating ROI, your follow-ups and appointment setting is going to be the most important. And to put it frankly, you need to squeeze the life out of your pipeline and every single lead that you generate. Because there's no point in you paying to generate leads if you aren't going to make the most of them. And the bare minimum standard and expectation is that you continue to follow up with every single lead that you generate until you get a definitive yes or no answer. That is your bare minimum. And if you don't do it, you're letting your leads go to waste. And there's no point in you paying to generate leads and run campaigns if you're not going to make the most of every lead that comes through. Now, I might be thinking, Emmett, this is a bit extreme. If I follow up every single lead until they give me a yes or no answer, that's spam. I'm not doing that. I don't have the time to do that. Let's talk through it. Firstly, if they have submitted their details requesting a call, it's not spam. You're just giving them what they asked for. So we go back to this thing. If you actually believe in your service, that it's helping people, that you can make people's lives better, then you have every right to actually chase this person, set an appointment, and do business with them. Because like I said, you're making their life better. Improving their life is going to have a knock-on effect, so on and so forth. It's the whole point of like life and living, guys. Do better, help other people. So you're giving them what they asked for, you're improving their life, don't worry about it. And if they turn around and tell you to go away, they're actually the ones spamming you, because they've made a submission, a false submission, and had you call them back and take all this time out of your day to try and set an appointment with them when they weren't interested in it in the first place. So they're actually the ones spamming. Think about it. If someone was to do a prank call to a business, that's spam, isn't it? It's the same thing. Or like Nick Knock whenever you were a kid, knock on the door and run away. Spam. They're the ones spamming you guys. Don't worry about it. And secondly, if you turn around and say that you don't have time, then fine, stay where you are in business. But if you're looking to grow your business and you're saying that you don't have time to do the one thing that is going to generate growth in your sales, then that doesn't really make any sense, because you don't have time to do the one thing that is causing growth in your business. So yeah, that is follow-ups, guys. Make sure you do your follow-ups. Basic one that you can get started with is call them within 5 minutes of a submission. And I'm being serious, set up the notifications on your phone so that whenever a lead comes through, you'll get notified, you can ring them straight away. And then you're going to want to go ahead, and so every time you ring, you're going to want to double dial. Somebody might have their phone on mute. Whenever you double dial, it goes ahead, it actually rings again, and that comes through as well. So you're going to want to do that first thing in the morning, and then probably about 5 or 6 p.m. as well, just to people who are getting home from work. Do that for the first 5 days after submission. And then sort of every other day up until about the 2 week mark, and then you can try them once every 30 days following on from that, because odds are if you don't catch them within 2 weeks, they're probably not genuinely interested, but that's fine. It'll be 1 in 6 or 7 leads. But that is follow-ups, guys. You want to stay on these guys, you want to keep ringing them, you want to squeeze the life out of your pipeline, like I say, make the absolute most of them. So looping this all back together, we have actually understanding who it is that we're trying to work with, try and speak to them properly, and doing the document, which I'm sure you've done by now. That way we can actually understand how to develop creatives that are going to resonate with these people, get them to trust us, how to actually set up the campaign so we can launch this and put it in front of those people, generate those leads, and then ultimately set those appointments, do the fact finding, do the exploration, get them to trust in us and our service, and ultimately do business and see some returns on this. So there we go. That is actual ad strategy, how to set up your ads, how to develop your campaign to generate £4 leads. That's what I do. It's the results that I've generated, and I'm aware this was a long video, so you may need to go back through, just have a look, double check on anything, and maybe come back to this whenever you are setting your own campaigns up and developing your own creatives, things like that. But there's plenty in here, and if you are looking to take this seriously and do this long term, which you should be, if you want to see success from it, then it's something that is worth taking the time to do and set up properly. So you're more than welcome to come back, have a look. At the same time as well, if you need any help from me directly, you can go ahead and message me on Instagram, drop a comment. More than happy to get back to anybody that needs it. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck with your own campaign. Make sure that you subscribe. I'll be posting more videos about how to actually help people based on my own experience, things that I'm looking to implement, so on and so forth. So there'll be plenty of value coming there. And over on my Instagram as well, I'll be doing plenty of content to try and help you guys too. So thank you very much for watching if you're still with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video as well. All the best.